Our third speaker, Ms. Nasreen Abdulla, is a seasoned journalist with over 18 years of experience across print, broadcast, and digital platforms. As a special correspondent at Khaleej Times, she has covered some of the region's most powerful and human-centered stories, from humanitarian missions to innovation and business. Beyond journalism, she is also a certified fitness trainer and a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. She's a true example of balance, passion, and perseverance. Please welcome Ms. Nasreen Abdulla.
Hi everybody. What's your favorite place in the whole world? London? Paris? India? UAE? You know what's mine? It's my comfort zone. From sticking to the same social situations to rereading the same book for the 150th time, there's nothing I enjoy more than the known. In fact, I'm re-watching my favorite series on Netflix for the 20th time, which is, by the way, The Rookie. So what I'm saying is, predictability is like an emotional support blanket for me. But as a journalist, a mother, and as someone who does the martial arts jiu-jitsu, guess where I hang out all the time? On the edge. The edge of exhaustion, the edge of my deadlines, the edge of being choked out by someone half my size on the jiu-jitsu mat. And this should be coming up now. Yeah. That AI-generated image and that expression, that's me 80% of the time. And my life feels like that 80% of the time. So what's the edge, you ask? It's that place where it's between what you know and what you are terrified to find out. It's that point where you feel mildly nauseous because of stress, but also there's a flutter of excitement in the pit of your stomach. It's that place where your brain says, run! But your heart says, I don't know, maybe take a peek. It's uncomfortable, unpredictable, yet it's where every single important chapter of my life began. So I'm going to share with you 3 instances where I felt fear. Now, when you look at me, I'm on a stage giving a TEDx talk, you're probably thinking, she's a fairly confident person, right? Wrong. Growing up, I was very confident and extrovertish around people I knew. But the minute I was with people I did not know, I would clam up. I would not speak up. I would not voice my opinions. I wouldn't even ask the security guard where the toilet is. So this me, I walked into the American University of Sharjah to do a bachelor's in mass communication. That's how I looked. That's me in the corner wearing pink. Don't let the age of the images trick you into thinking I'm old. I'm really young and cool. But when I was at university, I did a minor in psychology. And in our class, it was an advanced class, and we were 10 people and a super good-looking professor. So my aim was clear. I walk in, sit in a corner, don't speak to anyone, don't make eye contact, just listen, write my exam, ace it, and move on. But there was a catch. In this class, 10% of the grade was for class participation. And there were just 10 of us, so I couldn't hide anywhere. I was like, do I have it in me to let go of that 10%? No, because if I didn't get the 10%, I wouldn't get an A. So I had to speak out loud. You have no idea how terrifying this was for me. But I needed the A. So I started to work up the courage. Half the class I would spend rehearsing in my mind what I would say. And then slowly raise my hand. And then when I got a chance, I would say what I wanted to say and sit back down, mentally clutching my heart like I had just run a marathon. In those days, I learned more about conquering my fear than about psychology. And 2 years later, in my first job as a journalist, I had to walk up to random people on the road and ask them their opinions about daily news reports. Now, I'd like to tell you that the class set me up perfectly for it, but then I would be lying. I was still terrified. I would spend hours on the corner of a street, unable to work up the courage to go speak to someone. But I overcame it. Today, I can speak to anyone and everyone. I have to for my job. But it did not happen in one magical swish. It took practice, it took movement, and it took me pushing myself to the edge several times. Courage doesn't always look like confidence. Sometimes it looks like a panic attack which has had 6 cans of Red Bull. But that's okay. You just need to keep moving. Another time when I felt overwhelming fear was 2 weeks before my 23rd birthday. Now from where you guys are sitting, 23 sounds really cool, right? You have graduated, you're no longer studying, you have your first job, you have a paycheck, you have your own car, you can go anywhere, no one to tell you any rules. It's pretty cool, right? You know what I was doing 2 weeks before my 23rd birthday? I was getting discharged from the hospital after having my first child. Such a joyous occasion. But the only catch is, I had never taken care of a child for more than an hour before that. I'm an only child, I had no siblings, and I was raised here, far away from my cousins and extended family. I had not even held a newborn before I had one of my own. So when the doctor said, you are discharged, you can go home, I felt fear like I had never felt before. I was like, you mean to say I have to keep this tiny being alive all on my own? What if I make mistakes? What if I drop her on the head? It didn't matter that I had my parents and my husband's support. I was just scared out of my mind. But I had to rise the occasion. She wasn't exactly a shopping packet that I could return. I had to take care of her. So I mustered up all my courage, looked at her with all my love, and said, I'm going to be the best mom ever. She was a baby, she couldn't speak, but if she could, I think she would have said, and I am going to make every step of that way hard for you. Because, boy, that child could cry like anything. That is the scam. But when I went back home, every single apartment in that building knew where the newborn baby was. Yeah, that's me. That is when I brought her home for the first time. It looks like joy, but it's actually just hyperventilation about what I was going to do. And that's her looking like the gangster that she was, going to upend my life in whatever way she could. But I had to keep moving. And I did keep moving. And I enjoyed myself so much that 2 years later, I had another one. And now, my life and my house looks, yeah, something like that. There will be points in your life when you will be overwhelmed with fear, when you will feel like you cannot go on, but you will, and you will learn from it. And then came my tryst with the martial arts, jiu-jitsu. If journalism and parenting taught me to conquer my mental fear, jiu-jitsu taught me to conquer my fears physically. The first time I went to do jiu-jitsu, which by the way looks something like this, I had no clue what it was. I thought I was going to do some moves, break a plank, and go home. Turns out, no. In my first class, my coach said, fight. Before I could say hell, my coach had flipped me in the air, somewhat like that, and then I was flat on my back, and her knee was on my belly, reminding me that oxygen is a precious privilege. It was nothing that I had imagined, and I was not prepared for it in the least bit. Jiu-Jitsu, which by the way translates into gentle art, is one of the most humbling sport. You don't win and you don't gain confidence. You just tap out repeatedly to people half your size, double your size, younger than you, older than you, doesn't matter. There were so many times when I just wanted to quit because it went against every instinct I had for the 30 plus years of my life. I have been armbarred, choked, flipped in the air, folded like a laundry basket, but each time I stood back up, feeling exhilarated that I had learned something new. That's what happens at the edge. You fail, but you learn, you grow, you pivot, and you move on. So, the funny thing is, there'll be a lot of times when you'll think, I'll do this when I'm ready. I'll try this when I feel a little bit more confident. I will probably go there when I feel less scared. Spoiler alert, that time never comes. Courage doesn't magically appear before you move. It comes because you move. When I started Jiu-Jitsu, I was scared. When I became a parent, like I said, I was terrified. And don't even get me started on my job, which has taken me everywhere from the Rafah border to accident sites to protected areas in the UAE. But every single time, motion is what gave me clarity. And the movement does not have to be anything reckless like jumping off a cliff. It can mean just a small thing. Sending that email, turning up for a class, doing that one thing which you were scared of, but you really wanted to do. It is the willingness to inch slightly towards something that was uncomfortable. Remember, the best stories in journalism and in life did not come from those who played it safe. It came from someone who stepped over the edge, looked down and thought, that looks interesting. Don't rush to figure it all out. You will make mistakes. Right now, you're on the edge of who you were and who you are going to become. You will move countries, you'll pick careers, you will make new friends, you'll break habits. You will dive head first into the unknown. And sometimes your life will feel like that. But that's okay. That's exactly where you were supposed to be. So go out there, toe the line, step over the edge, make mistakes, feel the fear, and then enjoy the sheer happiness that comes with moving to be a better you. Thank you.